Boom. Yeah.
Here's another good one.
We drinking?
Yes.
Yes.
Here's
Yeah.
another good one. Here's to another good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. In three, two, one. Welcome to the show. We are here with the fourth edition of Run That Back Sunday Brunch, and we have another all-star cast as usual. We have Tamika Dixon, WNBA great, current business owner and future Hall of Famer out of Linden, New Jersey. Penny Toller, WNBA great, general manager and future Hall of Famer out of Washington, D.C. And we have Tara Lynn Towns, child behavioral specialist for Living Beyond You. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
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 It's Sunday morning brunch. We back here again. Got another hot topic, definitely a hot topic. I think it's a topic that a lot of people are kind of dancing around a little bit, not talking about it. So we're going to bring it to the table so we can start getting some answers around this. I mean, starting with Penny. And the question really is, should we start? And when are we going to start the WNBA season? When are we going to address it? Because right now, we're supposed to be in training camp gearing up for the first game. Right now, we're supposed to be finalizing the roster, not sitting in virtual meetings, which we are right now, and which have the coaches and the players' attention. So as a GM, what protocol or steps need to be taken? Because it's obvious this season is just not going to go according to plan.
Well, first I want to start out with what's happening right now in the WNBA. Obviously, everybody's trying to decide, hey, can there be a season? Will there be a season? Will it not be a season? I found out what's happening. The thing I'm happy about is that the players will be paid on June 1st as expected in a normal season. So they agreed to pay the players their first paycheck. So everybody will be paid. Now, the downside of that is because there is no training camp, which they would be in training. As a matter of fact, they would have played their first game a couple of days ago for the league. So now what's happening then? They're going to get paid their first paycheck. The downside is all those players that were hopeful going to training camp, that thought that they could go to training camp and fight for a position, that's no longer there. These rosters by June 1st have to be down to 11 and 12. So some people won't even get to show their talents because now they have to cut the players off the team. The rosters have to be finalized before any player receives a check on June 1st. Now, in saying that, I also know that they have several scenarios where the league is thinking about bringing everybody together in one venue to have a season where everybody would stay there. And I heard that when you enter, you can't leave out. And I believe in this season, there's 105 days if you do a full season. I'm almost certain that they wouldn't try to do a full season. I'm sure, this is my opinion now, not the league. I'm almost sure they would probably revamp the schedule to cut out some of the games in order for for the players to play. There's several problems with that though, because in doing that, you have to house all 12 teams. Now, the next question is, are all 12 team medical staff going to be housed? Is the back of the house going to be housed? And what I mean by the back of the house, the business side. What's going to happen with sponsorships? Because everybody, when you enter an arena, everybody have their elements of sponsorship that they sell to support the team. How is everybody going to have equal opportunity to that? What is practice going to be like? What's the practice schedule for 12 teams? And then it's what's going to happen to their families? And I'm sure a lot of these families, because if school, depending on where each player lives, I'm sure, and there are a lot of players in the league that are moms, and their kids going to have to go to school. What happens to their child when they have to go to school? They can't be quarantined. And, it's kind of difficult, I think, when you have a lot of parents, and I'm talking this for the NBA and the WNBA, that if you're somewhere quarantined for 105 days, I'm talking about the WNBA season now, not the NBA. So next thing you have is, okay, what's going to happen with the officials? Are they going to be quarantined? It's a lot to incumbent to have this season go on. For me, to be honest with you, I would be probably one of those components of let's find a way and pay the young ladies what's fair. But would I have this season? No, I would not. And the reason being is because while other people are in the comforts of their own home, keeping themselves safe, is it worth your life to play a game that I know everybody misses? Don't get me wrong, everybody misses sports, but is it worth it to put somebody's life at risk just so they would have something with everybody else who's in the comfort of their own home watching, that maybe something could happen and this virus one person could get it and spread it throughout, and if that happens, casualties are high. Casualties will be high because I don't care what type of control environment that you want to have. Unfortunately, you're going to have those people that's going to buck the system and believe, I can just go out for a minute, or I can just do that. And let's just say someone does catch it and has the unfortunate timely of dying. Who's responsible for that? I think a better question is to realize that we're in a pandemic, unusual circumstances. The young ladies didn't ask for this. The team didn't ask for this. And you find a way that you can support. It's only 12 teams. And, yeah, each team got $1 million+ salary cap, but everybody's not at the salary cap. Find a way to pay these players something until you can come back next year with a full season. Because even if you start the season and let's say they play on June, say they're getting paid on June 1st, okay, if you call the season later, and people need to be thinking about this element as well. Let's just say they get paid on June 1st, they get paid on June 15th, then all of a sudden they see they can't go. Now every player has to enter that cycle of the unemployment. That's probably going to be a month or 2 months before they see any revenue, any money to support themselves, when there are a lot of players in the WNBA that already have contracts. And my question then I probably would be like, they didn't ask for this, so should they be paid all their money? Or do you find something that's fair for everyone to have an opportunity? So to answer your question, if it was me as a GM, obviously a GM, I'm just a GM, I would have owners. But if my owners asked me, I would be like, hey, let's get a scenario while we're thinking of can we play and all that, but you can still pursue that. But I would be like, hey, let's get a scenario and try to figure out what we can pay our players to be fair, that if we don't play, I would say we don't play, we pay them something fair, and their safety, we're thinking about their safety first, not entertainment for people that would be sitting in their house in their safe environment. I wouldn't ask the players to risk their lives for that. No, I would not.
Wow, and that's a great answer. I mean, and it gives me a lot to think about as well. I mean, as you were talking about that, I was thinking, oh, well, maybe we can go to Colorado Springs. That's just a basketball in me. Go USA Basketball and have everybody stay there. That's probably the only place that can house that many athletes and have the housing and the facility to feed them and stuff like that. That's just an idea to throw out there. But I agree with you as far as
remember their families. And what about their families?
Exactly.
You got to think about their families, statisticians, officials. How is the doctors going to work? Each team has their own trainers, their developmental coaches. What's the number that you can take into a quarantine environment like that?
Yeah, and still be safe. Absolutely.
And still be safe.
It raises some great questions. I'm sure that you have one sitting there, Tamika.
Yes, I do. So, PT, you touched on a whole lot of things. The one interesting thing that I thought, that I wanted to get more clarification on from you is these GMs that have to select get their rosters down to 12 before they could pay out. As a GM, how would you actually do that? Because you have your players that you already know, but you brought in, 3 or 4 new rookies that you really, all you saw was game tape and, you might have got out to see them play in their college seasons, but you haven't had them in a training camp to kind of, see how they are in that setting, playing amongst other WNBA players. So how would you make that selection? That's tough.
Oh, yeah, it's real tough because you're picking blind. And then I can tell you, I'm almost sure most people are going to go with what they know. What the people that they know can produce it. If you got a rookie that you think can beat somebody out, you might take a chance on them. But for those athletes that are new coming in, oh, unfortunately, it's going to be a lot of tears, because you didn't get a chance to show if you can be better. Because in a situation like this, which brings us back to another problem, even if you can play, you can't just go tell the athlete, oh, here come the season, we're playing next week. You're going to need at least 3 weeks for everybody to get in shape, to get going, because I don't care what you do at home. It's nothing like playing, So there's another 3 weeks that you have to account for to get everybody so that nobody get hurt. Those players, to be honest with you, I'm going to tell you right now, I can't see too many players making it from the draft because the WNBA is tough. And every team has very, very good players. And you're going to have some teams that got room and they're going to gamble on a younger player and they'll make the team. But I can tell you for the most part, I can pretty much almost guarantee that a lot of teams are going to look the same as last year. They're going to keep the players that they know can get it done because when you're trying to get going, you got to get up quick and get going. Unfortunately, this is not the year for a rookie. They're not going to be able to wait on you. They're not going to be able to wait on. So people are going to make tough calls. And unfortunately, I can't see too many new players making the league this year.
Wow. And that's a major blow to the mind, sitting here.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to be disappointed. And there's going to be a lot of young women right now that are sitting back watching. And Vid could probably speak to this because he has young girls that he coaches. At this moment, what do you say to a kid like that? I mean, Vid, you have a question?
Nah, I don't really have a question. I just have a statement going off of what Penny was saying. It was very eye-opening because I think we, in our perspective, in our own perspective, sometimes we get selfish, and we want the game. The little girls want the game. You know what I mean? But then when you bring in all the other factors, I think a lot of people aren't thinking about the factors of, all right, you can quarantine or you can play without an audience, but then, those players, officials, coaches, et cetera, have families, and I think that was a great point. So I really I don't have a question. I just wanted to, say that was a mind-boggling statement for me, so that's all I have to add to that.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
the other thing is, and one last thing I want to add to that I think a lot of people are not even focusing on, how they say COVID-19 affects, people over 60. And in the WNBA, we have coaches over 60. Should they be reaching their lives? And, hats off to the Washington Mystics, congratulations on them winning the championship, who I think they celebrated virtually. But let's just take that coach, for instance, Mike Tebow. Mike Tebow is over 60, so should he be put at risk? This is what I'm saying. People are just looking at players because they thinking healthy. There are a lot of age ranges of people that occupy that same space. So let's just say, God forbid, but let's say one of the older coaches, we got them as head coaches. We have older coaches as assistant coaches get sick. I mean, for what, a game? No, for me, the solution would be let's find what's fair and pay. Tell everybody to stay healthy, stay in the comforts of their home like everybody that's going to be watching. We want sports, and the sports that are able to do it with social distancing, like golf, maybe tennis, if it was going, okay, then go for it. And those are the sports that we would have to watch. But those contact sports, football, soccer, basketball, volleyball, all those, that take a whole bunch of people, I just can't see it happening. I wouldn't tell them to do that because I would hate to see a coach, a player, a staff member die for what? A sport? Because people want to see sports. I think this whole COVID-19 is telling everybody, let's sit at home and think about what we need to be focusing on that's probably bigger than sports, bigger than making a movie, bigger than music, bigger than all that. And that's what we need to be focusing on.
Yeah. Hit the nail right on the head as usual. And Tara, it's obvious these players are going to suffer some anxiety. We currently have a few foreign players who decided to stay home instead of play this year due to COVID-19. And what are some good POAs, so like plan of action steps for some of these players that are gonna, just really try to figure out what it is that they need to do on the other side of this basketball thing?
I first want to say that I totally agree with Penny because I think that it's profound to consider the families of these players. They have to come home after the games too. They have children. And what we're hearing a lot is that it does affect people 60, 65 and older. But there's a new trend in New York and other states, Chicago now, where there's a byproduct of this effect in children. And so at first they said, oh, 17, and then it's only 7 kids died. Really, 1 kid is enough, but now that number's up to 27. So we see that this thing, it came in with a vengeance, and we need to address it as such. Like Penny said, there's people out there that's still going to go out there and think this can affect anyone and everyone at any age. So that raises the anxiety even to begin with, even if it's underlined. Like some people are still in denial. I don't know how, but some people are still, with all of these people dying, I just don't know how. And I just want to say that to focus on, I have clients, I have adult clients as well, because I'm also a human development specialist. So I have extra clients now that are already panicking, that are already going into post-traumatic stress disorder, that lost family members. So, one of the things that while I'm coaching to myself, that I'm saying to them, number one is just to focus on the outcome. If you focus on these situations and the circumstances now in real time, anyone would lose their mind or feel displaced or feel, mentally anxious about it, because the circumstances are very, very, very scary. I mean, it's a fact. However, replacing those thoughts and those practices with what am I going to eat? What supplementation am I going to take? How am I going to get my fresh air safely? Because we do need that for our endorphins. Working out at home. I had to buy a treadmill because I'm in South Dakota, so the weather, we had snow last week. I'm like, come on, you're messing up my outdoor activity over here. But I had to buy a treadmill just so my mind can feel like I'm still walking and to open up the window. We have to be creative in these times, but all of these things are going to definitely increase even more. The more people stay in, but we have to look at what Penny said. It's not about a dollar amount. It's not about, hey, yay, we get to watch our favorite sport. It's about lives. And when people start focusing on that part, it really will calm them in their spirit, and it will put them in place, so to speak, and say, hey, now what am I going to do? So what I'm encouraging clients to do with their POAs is to, number one, focus on the outcome. You must move away from, we know what's going on. We don't need any more awareness on it, right? We need a resolution for this. We know it's here. It has arrived, and it looks like it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So what can we do in that moment in time? Yes, we could set up our goals, and we can start working towards the goals no matter how hard it is. Just start focusing on the outcome. It really resolves. And then once again, set up everything. I'm telling, my clients to run your race now. Everyone's talking about, oh, when the door is open, when I can go outside, no. You have your inside of your home where you're safe right now. So what are you doing inside of your home? You can work out at home. You can cook at home. You can be with your kids at home. You can play with your pets at home. You can write your book. You can do a lot of things that you just could not do before at home. That's where your mind must be. It must be on things that keep it busy, because we all know about an idle mind. Seriously, it is the devil's playground. It really is. So if we stay focused on our game, that's what I'm telling them. Run your race now, so when the door opens, you're already at the finish line. You're ahead of everyone else. Even meetings like Penny, you just spoke about going to speak to your marketing person. I'm staying busy too. We're all staying busy. Mika, you have a business. We're staying busy because that is really the key to all of this. Stay busy so that your mind does not wander into those negative, scary places. Do we feel those emotions? Yes, I had 2 family members that died in 1 week from this. So I'm just speaking from my heart right now, and I had to go deep into my soul, into God, into everything. Like, Lord, in 1 week, oh my God. But that panic came, but as fast as it came, I said, you know what? I love my family and I love everyone else, but you have me safe in the middle of nowhere in South Dakota. Thank you, Lord. You have me safe. And now I'm just keeping Corey and I safe. And this is where you have me. So I must make the best of it. I say this as a big piece of advice. Don't complain about being stuck in a house. You are safe in your house. There are people who are underground right now, people who are mourning kids and mothers and fathers that never had underlying conditions. I say you are safe at home. Honor that. Explore that and do things that you've never done before. Start getting into other things, gardening, anything you can do that you've never done before. And then lastly, I want to say that I do telehealth with the state with my clients, and I think it would be awesome for, as I'm hearing this, for the players to have telehealth sessions at home so that that anxiety can be definitely redirected clinically and they have that actively going on. And not only that, I'm thinking too, you get out there and you play, but look at all of what you have to worry about. Like Penny said, like you can die just being in contact with someone, just in the training camps, you can die. So is it really worth that? Do you think that players are really going to have their game head on? I don't know. I mean, I know that I would be worried about it if someone's around me just sneezing. Do you know what I mean? And I'm trying to make a shot. And I'm going to be like, okay, 12 feet away from me. So I just don't even know if people's heads are going to be right to be in the game. So I would say that telehealth sessions for the players would be awesome if that can be put together and actively, like even if it's once a week, have them check in and just, it will also make them feel like they're still seeing each other and being around each other. And then it could be done for the players who are overseas as well. Because this anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder and panic disorder, all of these things are just going to, because they're already happening now. As I said, I'm overloaded. You know what I mean? Because people are just starting to say like, oh my God, what do I do? So that's just how I feel about the situation.
Yeah, that was good. And that's why it's Sunday brunch, because everybody just get all up in their spirits and their feelings and just go in. And, I mean,
Yes.
everybody's touching on some excellent points. And, I want to piggyback off of Tara's talking about creativity and Penny talking about creativity and going to Tamika as a player to give that perspective. We've suffered many ups and downs, especially overseas with teams folding, and then you got to wait on your agent to call back with a job. Talk about some of the tactics you use to stay in shape and stay focused. Definitely focused on the goal of playing when
Mhm.
everything was up there.
So I think, and I'm pretty sure, that the players that are in the league now know that this is their livelihood. So when you have that, and that's what, what this entails, then you have to make sure that you're prepared for every situation that you encounter. So for the rookies coming in, what I would say, since they haven't been able to touch a training camp, maybe if they were able to get in touch with their college strength and conditioning coaches and have them, prepare a program, a preseason program for them so that they're prepared moving into their WNBA season, whether they have it or not. I think that would be something that they can do. And then our old crafty vets, some of us, like myself, I was fortunate to be able to play in the league year after year. You kind of know what you need, to get yourself prepared and ready for each season. But you got to be a little bit more creative in these situations. Now I'm pretty sure, the teams probably have like Zoom sessions or things like that with their team now. But I would get with my, strength and conditioning coaches and try to figure out a plan that I can do, to implement a plan now so that whether we have a season or not, I'm prepared for that. And then, now the tracks, everybody's dealing with different situations around the country. And, here in New York and New Jersey, we're kind of the epicenter of it. So our states, are opening up a little later. Um, this past week was the first week that we were able to even access the tracks and things like that. So now, you have access to the tracks, so you can kind of implement that. The basketball courts outside, you still can't get any work done there, because if I walk down to my court down the street at my house, there's two wooden blocks in between the hoop, because they don't want people coming together in large groups to play. But, I'd go out and purchase a basketball hoop and put that thing in my driveway, because I know I got to get my 500 to 1,000 shots up a day. So, so, so you got to be creative. You just got to be creative, but you got to do something. You can't sit around and let this, overtake you, because you can't plan, to not have a season. You got to be prepared when if they say it, you got to be prepared and ready to go into that thing fighting. And the only way to do that is to be prepared going in.
Absolutely. And we know it doesn't change, it doesn't stop what the coaches and the general managers are expecting from the players, regardless as to what happens. You're still expected to produce. So, Penny, could you talk about that? Elaborate on that. What your expectations will still be.
Yeah, the expectation is always to win a championship. Obviously, I say this, WNBA, NBA, whoever wins it this year is going to have an asterisk beside it, because, of the situation that they're in. Like I said, I know the league's going to have to reduce their games to have a good season. The expectation, if it does kick off and it gets going, the expectation is to win a championship. If you're coming to play, it's like Meek said, and this is why a lot of rookies are not going to make it. It's going to be, hey, which team can get up the fastest, get the most wins to position themselves to go into the playoffs and win this thing. It's going to come down to, if I got to be there, I want to win. And that's where that preparation, and like Meek said, those crafty vets to come ready. And Meek, with me being a general manager, I had the opportunity to play and be Meek's general manager. That our philosophy was, like I told you, I think a couple of weeks ago, it's easy for me to cut, because when they come to vets, I'd be like, you done seen the product, you know what it is, and you should be in shape. If you're not in shape, I'm going to cut you just on GP, because you should know better. I've cut players before, and you would be amazed at one player I cut, and she thanked me. She said, thank you. Now I see why the Sparks win. You know what I'm saying? So anybody out there, they should be preparing if they think it's going to be a season. And right now, that's an option that's still on the table. But I want to go back just a little ways further, because I'm a true believer in the mind works a lot longer than the body. Yes. And what I mean by that in addition to preparing physically, Tara hit it on the head. They should be, while they in those meetings talking basketball and preparing, somebody needs to go get somebody, whether that's the league or your team individually, and get someone with some telesupport to deal with your anxiety, with your stress, because the reality of it is, even if you play, that stress is going to be there, because I would be like Tara too. Does he got it? Does he, whoa. Am I going to touch you? Or am I going to play defense, matador defense? And I say that your mind has to be right to go through this. If you plan on playing, the first order of attack is that mind, because that mind has to be right. It has to be right. So it's like, I haven't even talked. That was so great. I haven't even heard anybody talk about that in the league, because that's even like, I find myself in, it's crazy, because I used to love to watch TV when I come home from work, because that was my, I would say, way to relax. And now with COVID-19, I had to think the other day, I didn't even have the TV on. I haven't had the TV on in days or weeks. And then when I put it on, I fall asleep because it's late at night, because I found myself sharpening all my other skills. Like you said, you have an opportunity to sharpen your other skills and not to dominate this whole conversation. For me, I'm like this. You see how I'm doing this, because my aha moment in all of this is this. You have to have a plan B. And what I would say to any WNBA player, we already know that we're not making millions, so you have to prepare for it. But don't wait till you get to the end of your career to try to prepare for it. This is just showing me that we need more programs to help educate these athletes on there's more to life than just basketball. Because Meek heard me say this 1,000 times. You're one step away from stepping off the court, blowing out your knee, and your career is over. So while we're getting all these resources to get them more money, no, let's get them some other resources where they can go out and make money. Like, okay, I got a vision. We all know a lot of people got a vision, but can they execute it? Or do they know where to go get the skills? This is the type of stuff that we need to be investing in now, because if something like this happens again, you might say, yeah, I need that salary too, but at least I got something to sustain me right now. It's showing you that you need a plan B, because something like this could happen again in the future. So, I went off a little bit, but yeah, prepare yourself physically. And if I'm a team, I will be out there like Tara, bringing in whoever my team psychologist was. And if I'm the league, I'm thinking about it, because I can guarantee you, if you go in that type of situation and you play and one person gets sick, you're going to have pure pandemonium up in there. So that's kind of how I say it. But as a GM, if we're going to play, the goal is to win. And my role would be as a GM to make sure that in addition to whatever the league is doing, I'm doubling down on whatever my safety issues are to keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I would approach it if there was a league about to play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they're trying to figure out a way to address it. I sit and I'm like, well, are they following the NBA's lead? I mean, the NBA doesn't have a lead right now. They don't know what they're gonna do either. So, when is a good time to talk about it other than right now?
And my thing would be is, and I still say, it's for a WNBA player and an NBA player that's not making the millions, you put in a tough situation because the question I would ask, and probably would want to put a lie detector on every player, because I know players say what you want to hear in times like this. My question would be, is it worth your life to play? And the league should be asking that too. And that's why I say I would find another way to say, hey, for everybody that has a contract and make the roster, let me figure out how I can compensate you without you putting your life on the line. And just accept it that sports make a lot of money. So this is just a little thing that we can do for this 1 year that we are in an area that's beyond normal, to say, hey, that we may have to eat this money, but guess what? Everybody gets to stay home and be safe. Is that too much to ask? I don't think so, because I can tell you right now, my life ain't worth $60,000. That's the lower end, and my life ain't worth $225,000. That's the high end. It's not worth it. So let me figure out, as an owner, say, let me take that and then figure out next year. I got a whole year to prepare how I'm gonna double up my sponsorship, how I'm gonna double up my marketing to be the best in the business. And when these players come back, they should feel like I felt when the league first started. Oh my God, it's here. I'm gonna do all I can, and understand that you got to get your butt out there. You got to market. No, they're not gonna pay you any more money because they done gave it to you this year. You're gonna get out there and do whatever you can to help support the league and support the W to keep it around. But it's not 200. My life is worth more than, like I say, take the higher end, 225 or whatever it is now. It's not worth it. My life is worth more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I sit here and just constantly think about sponsorship. I mean, there's so many creative ways that they can promote the league now. Maybe they're being called to do that more as well. Doing some PSAs and how do you get the sponsors to buy into all of this that's going on? How do you retain them and keep them as a sponsor right now, Penny?
Well, see, and this is, a lot of people don't know I was executive vice president and general manager, because I could also do the business side. And what a lot of people don't understand is, yeah, you want to keep the sponsors engaged, but there are a lot of other elements, like television. Television is $1 billion business. All the teams are on television. You know what I'm saying? And when I was last in the league, it was last year, each team was already getting $1 million for the television deal. There you go, right there. You're still going to have television. That's another way. Even if you say minus the sponsors, television is going to be there. And it should be enough if you were giving the teams $1 million anyway, that we're going to be there next year, work out something next year. There's all the money for your players. That's just one avenue. Then you're going to have your sponsors that want to still be on board, because you got to realize it's not just the players, it's a ripple effect, because you're going to have some sponsors that want to be sponsors, but guess what? Their business took a hit too. Their business took a hit too. You know what I'm saying? They may not be able to give that money right there. But just like, and I'm saying this and not getting off track, just like college athletes want to be paid, they should. Television is a $1 billion business. You know what I'm saying? Are the women making $1 billion? No, the men are. It's one of those situations where, and I don't hate to say it, the NBA, when it first started with David Stern, maybe Adam Silver should look at, you know what, we could subsidize some of that income that some of those owners may be losing on the WNBA side. Because we all know when the men's league come back, it's back to $1 billion industry again.
Absolutely.
So to subsidize some of the money to keep the WNBA going, that's just, to me, that's like pocket teams falling out their pocket. And we're not asking them to do that all the time, because the WNBA done made huge strides in supporting itself and sustaining itself. But we are in uncertain times where, guess what? Even as a neighbor, I may have to help my neighbor, or my neighbor, like I have older neighbors that I go shopping for myself. We got to help each other. So it's not too much to ask the NBA, to be honest with you. Hey, you can't get the WNBA $10 million? I mean, that's everybody's salary. And if you don't pay them full salary and it has to go to a prorated, I mean, I don't think, hell, just take the fine. The money, I wonder what the fines were for the NBA last year. I'm sure they were about 5 or 6 million. Take that money and give it to the WNBA.
Absolutely.
And I'm saying that because, yeah, we're in uncertain times, we're in crucial situations, and everybody got to have all hands on deck. Not every man swim for themselves. We're not even doing that as a neighbor. So it's not that much to ask, hey, can you subsidize and maybe go half with the owners and pay these players? I guarantee you, and I know this because the only other thing I've been besides a GM is a player. I would be grateful, I would be honored, and I would be like, look at the best league that we're playing in. Those would be my words. And they're going to come back, all those players, and give the best that they can to the best league in the world, the WNBA. And if we were to do this for them, they need to stay home. They need to stay safe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this was definitely about bringing awareness to the situation and, just coming up with some viable solutions to what I know is probably going to hit the news within the next couple of days, within a week about, what we're going to do as far as the league is concerned, the WNBA. And I know that it's going to be the inevitable, which is going to be that we're going to have to just chill out and we're going to have to wait this thing out and wait for a vaccine to come out so that everybody can be safe. And I'm here to tell you that I will not be joining those people in the first wave of people who get those shots. I just won't be that person. But coming back to the show, I tell you, I love being on the show with you guys. It's always fantastic. Got to get some closing remarks from everybody.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm sorry. Can I ask a
You
quick
sure
question?
can?
Because we touched on the mental aspect far as getting ready to play. Can you briefly touch on the mental aspects or how to prepare yourself if you're not having a season? Because all of us being athletes, we had a routine, and when our careers are coming being over or whatever, I know for me, I was depressed because I followed a strict routine, and then all of a sudden it was gone. So do you, any of you, have any brief advice for like the rookies or the second, third year, the ones that don't really have a mentor and just know that all they have is basketball, going to class and then basketball, workouts, practice, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but don't have that outlook of, all right, my career is almost over and I need to find my next stage, of life, whether it's business or whatever. So
Go ahead, Tamika.
Hmm. So what I and it is it's what I would say, Vid, is for that athlete coming out now and being involved in this situation now, it's trying times, I think. I don't know, how I would approach, this situation, had I been, still been in the league. And, just between all of us and speaking with a couple of like agent friends of mine that are involved in placing their players overseas, the market is going to be crazy in getting overseas because there's a lot of countries that are not going to be playing their seasons internationally either. So now you have, you've been fortunate to play in the WNBA, and you have your overseas career now kind of in jeopardy too, because you really don't know if there's going to be a season for you over there as well. So it would be tough for me, just to be, from a mental perspective, to remain positive in this situation. But as a vet, I would know, it's time to start thinking about, like PT said, like the plan B. What would I be doing outside of basketball? What are my interests? What are my passions? What are my goals for when I'm done playing? And trying to get some things up, to start implementing some things that I can do now to help my, further my career after basketball. I would start working on that now. But not losing sight of, yeah, I'm still a WNBA athlete. I'm still a professional athlete, and I still need to be ready and prepared when that time comes as well. But it's trying times, I think, for a young lady in this time, especially from, the rookies coming in.
I couldn't agree with you more. Penny, you want to elaborate on that and close us out?
I think everything that Meek just said, I think that, like I said before, it's telling everybody you got to have a plan B. And it's tough, Bid, when you don't play. I have a nephew that was, just retired from football, and he's having a tough time, just like this situation here is going to be tough. It's one of those things where, like going back to what Tara said, you need tele-support. I think that this should show every college and university as well. They have an obligation. Yeah, they're giving you an education, but I believe the education needs to be structured differently and deal with real time, how to get a real job, and, not just studying all the time. And if you're an athlete, because it's such a specialized thing, and athletes is not as big as the whole university, we should already be exposing every athlete to other opportunities outside of basketball. I'm talking about before you even get to the pros, because the pros is just like the lottery. There's a high chance that you're not going to win. Only one person may win. So, and knowing that it's tough for a lot of athletes to make the pros, college, no, it's not. Okay, any athlete in my mind and already paid for college after the first game, as far as I'm concerned, all the money that the universities are making. So they should be having live people in there, giving these people hands-on tools to work in their profession, as well as why can't college athletes do internships while they're playing in the field that they want to do? I think college is having a role, and it should be a necessity that we put these athletes in real jobs so they can establish connections, so that they can network and they can do these things. So when they don't make the league, they have something to fall back on, because everybody's not going to make it. And I always used to say in sports, and not to be long-winded, there's two things going to happen in sports, no matter what it is. And I'm going to give you the two answers right here. Father Time is undefeated. And some people go on TikTok 15 years, 10 years, and other people clock's going to TikTok after 1 year and 2 years. And then the other thing that athletes forget about is, and here's the other one, evolution. What comes after you will be better. And that's going to knock a lot of people out when that new wave comes in. So you have to be constantly thinking about, if I'm in college now, and when you get to our level, the players, whoever, you need to be thinking about how does a player brand themselves. And don't just say that to them, show them, give them the tools. Here's the tools that you need to be branded. Believe it or not, and I put myself on the spot, but when my book drops, it's a different type of book than what people think. I think people are going to be surprised at what I'm writing about. I can always go back and write about myself as a GM, but it's something I think is more important and deals with the time. Where are the tools? You can't say, what do you want to do? And they go, I want to be this. Okay, how do you do that? What's the action behind the statement? What's the action behind the statement? So I would just say everything Meek said, they probably forgot would be being long-winded, but you have to have a plan B. I think in college, before you get to us, it's your obligation to have every athlete, as far as I'm concerned. It should be mandatory that you intern somewhere in whatever profession you want to intern in. Make them network outside of all the groupies that just like athletes because they're athletes. Make them go to a business world and deal in that world where some of the business people don't care who you are, you got that work, to experience that. Because then it's not a shock when it happens. Because they already prepared you in college. And that's where I think we need to correct the problem out there. Because, everybody isn't going to make it to the pros. It's just not going to happen. It's like the lottery.
Once again, Virginia Penny Tola knocks it out the park. I want to
you thought my real name out there?
Everybody who is on the show. Everybody. You guys, it's just always fantastic. Vid, Tamika, we have Tara. Sunday brunch is always on fire. As usual, we have to save some stuff for next week. So once again, thank you for being on the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Always
so
a pleasure.
Fun. My pleasure.
Yes.
I would toast it up, but my drink is gone.
I had water today, so
Well,
it's over.
Water. My color water.
All right. I'll let y'all know. I'm going to throw it up in a couple hours. All right.
Hey,
Sounds
great seeing you guys, everybody.
Yeah.
All right.
always a pleasure.
Y'all have a good week.
Stay
Yes.
safe.
Take care.
Everybody keep working out.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna hold each other accountable. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, got to,
Yeah.
boy. Around and be over here, be rolling out the door. Willy Wonka, the girl who ate the blueberry gum.
I know. That's what I said. And we're gonna hold each other accountable. So next week, you guys. See you guys later.
All right. See you later.
Have a good week, y'all.
Peace.
Yeah.